Yes, sir.
Carlos Nelson with Cascade Media Group. Today, we have one of our local artists out of Kansas City. And I really admire his work, Mr. Harold Smith. How are you doing, Harold?
I'm doing great. Thank you, sir.
Hey, Harold, tell our audience a little bit about yourself.
Okay.
Go back to your young days, and how did you start to fall in love with the art that you perform?
Okay. Well, I was born and raised in Kansas City, Kansas, on 13th Street, actually, right down from Quindaro, between Troop and Parallel. I always liked to draw. When I was a kid, I used to make these comic books about ants fighting and all sorts of stuff like that. And I started drawing as a kid, and I just never stopped. So I really can't point to any one thing that made me fall in love with art, but it just was something that it seems, I was naturally drawn to. Yes, sir.
What high school did you go to?
Wyandotte Bulldogs, baby, 1981.
Were you engaged in art then?
Yeah, I was engaged in art then, but not as part of the school. I always drew on my own, but I
What
didn't
type
take
of
any.
things were you doing in high school?
Oh, let's see here. I played well, before I went to Wyandotte, I went to school in Missouri. I played basketball. I did drama. I was in a play called Arsenic and Old Lace. I played tennis. I got a letter in tennis for Wyandotte. What else did I do? Um, Library club. But I worked a lot, honestly. After I turned 15, I started working like Pizza Hut jobs like that. So I didn't do as many activities as I probably could have and should have because I was busy working.
So when you graduated, what school did you go to?
Okay, when I graduated, I went to Kansas City, Kansas Community College for 2 years. And then I graduated with my bachelor's from Union College, which is a 7-day Adventist college in Lincoln, Nebraska. I graduated from there in 1985.
What was
I
your major?
studied computer science. I was a computer science major. Yes, sir.
All right. Were you practicing your trade then?
Oh yeah, I mean, but not anything official. It's just mostly draw at that point, mostly drawing and sketching.
What medium? Lead? What?
Charcoal,
Charcoal.
graphite ink. Yeah, just whatever I could find. Money was tight, so couldn't really do the paint. So graphite, charcoal, ink, pencil, those type of things.
So when did your career really you decided this is where I'm going?
Okay, in the late 1990s, after I had graduated from college, I had served as a missionary overseas, and I returned to Kansas City. And my mother had passed away, and I was taking care of my dad who had Alzheimer's. And I was still drawing and sketching. And then one day he just kind of asked me out of the blue, At this point, Alzheimer's had pretty much had his mind, so it was rare that he talked. But one day he just asked me, are you still making art? It was weird because he hadn't said a word in months. And then he just asked me, are you still making art because you really like to do it? I can't remember exactly, but that's when I kind of realized that this is something I should be doing. It's part of the reason I'm here.
That was the spirit talking to him, talking to you.
Yes, I most definitely agree. I definitely agree. That was the Holy Spirit. Yes.
So when you started out, you were still working a job?
Oh yeah, yeah. Man, I started teaching in 1986. First, I was a computer programmer, and then I taught part time. Then I became a full time teacher in '89, full time. And but yeah, at this
Where were
point
you teaching at?
Wow, let's see. At this time I was teaching in Kansas City. Make a nutshell. I had taught in Alabama, Bermuda, but at this point, I was teaching in Kansas City.
Let's talk about a little bit of the other talents you have. I think off camera, I talked to you about poetry. I talked to you about your skill set as a writer.
Yes,
I write a little bit about that.
Oh yeah, okay. I like to write. In addition to painting, if you go to my website, I've got some short stories up. I've written some plays, even wrote a novel once. I like to write. I also have made documentaries. I did a documentary on Natasha El-Skari. I made a documentary on Glenn North. So I've made short documentaries on various artists. So I like filmmaking. I like writing. I like painting. I'm working on my two-step.
How did you get involved with the American Jazz Museum?
Well, I had been there to visit numerous times, and in the year 2010, Sonny Ruffin reached out to me about a solo exhibit at the American Jazz Museum. I had met Sonny. We had talked before a few times, so she had an idea for my art and Glenn North's poetry. And so that's what we did. Yeah, it was beautiful. It was really a game changer for me. It was the first time my art was seen by a large audience. It was a blessing.
Talk about where you studied at.
Okay, wow. Well,
and you had exhibitions.
Oh, okay. Well, after Union College, I got a master's degree at Webster University in 1996. As far as exhibitions, well, besides areas in Kansas City, the Nerman Museum of Contemporary Art had a solo exhibit there in 2019. Part of the testimony exhibit at Nelson Atkins. In 2014, I had a solo exhibit in France at Cognac Blues Passions. And then the next year, a solo exhibit at a gallery in Angoulême, France, which I struggled to pronounce the name. I've shown in Rhode Island. I've been a part of group exhibits in New Orleans at the Stella Jones Gallery. At the
next question. Next question. I'm the cutoff king. How many pieces of art would you say that you have on hand? When I looked at some of the things, I was like, man, this man must have been painting 24/7.
Yeah, I did. Well, yeah, to be honest with you, it wasn't until recently as I neared retirement as a teacher that I began to realize really how hard I had been working. But yeah, I probably have 250, 300 pieces here of all different sizes, yes.
And so you just moved into a new location. Tell our audience a little bit about that and how did that come about?
Okay, I am what they call a Studios Inc. resident. Studios Inc. is an organization that has these studios in the Crossroads area, and you apply, and if you're accepted into a residency, you have a studio for 3 years. You just simply have to pay insurance. They provide the space, the utilities, parking, everything. The beautiful thing about that is these studios are huge, and if you rented them, probably be like $4,000 a month. So if you take 4,000, multiply it by 36, then you have the value of that residency, like easily $120,000. So that's my new space. It's part of Studios Inc. I've got fabulous neighbors inside the studio, great people. I love the organization. Courtney Weston is, I believe, the executive director. It's a good thing. I like it.
So let's take a look at some of your art real quick.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
All right, Mr. Smith, what are some of your closing comments? Your artwork looks superb. I like I said, I was flabbergasted. And I think my audience went looking at this, they're really going to like it. How they can contact you and what you have to say in closing.
Okay, well, thank you. Well, I'd like to say that my career, I recently retired. I retired from teaching in December after a total of 36 years, 20 years in Kansas City public schools. So I'm on to the next adventure, which is becoming a full-time artist. Part of my artistic practice, though, is to help younger artists and mentor younger artists. It took me until the age of 59 to become a full-time artist and have my own studio. My goal is to help other artists so it won't take them nearly as long. So, and if you're interested in my work, I'm kind of old school. If you reach out to me, you can get an invitation to come by the studio and look at the pieces and talk about it. And if you see something you like, we do have a price list. So, but I'm just proud to be here in this moment. I'm proud to be in Kansas City. I'm proud to be here right now because Black art is really exploding nationally right now. We are really in a renaissance moment. Despite everything going on in the world, Black art has really been picking up steam over the last several years. Not just everywhere in the world, but actually even right here in Kansas City. The African American Artists Collective, different institutions are now opening their doors to artists of color. So we're doing big things, and you are part of that, Mr. Nelson. I thank you for Cascade Media Group and everything you've done for us. It's because of you, people like you, that this moment for us in Black America and in Black art is possible. So I thank you.
We appreciate it.
Yes,
and we encourage our viewers to not only look at Mr. Smith's art, but to visit the studio. He's invited me to visit the studio, and before this month's out, Ms. Nelson, camera, and probably another crew member will be coming down to take a look at what you're doing.
Amen.
And as we always say here at Cascade Media Group, when you invest in your community, you're really just investing in yourself.
Yes, you are.
Good
Thank
night.
you.
This is brought to you by Africana Art.